So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. As I feverishly here on my 110% absolutely legal stream, I'm trying. Oh, geez, the one button on my control will not work to select the application I want to select. Anyway, let's see. Does that work? No. This is great podcasting, by the way. Work, you thing. Maybe it just doesn't want me to watch the United game. Keep me abreast of the score in the United game, everyone. Keep me abreast. Anyway, Aston Villa 2, Spurs 0. But you would have known that if you had watched the team sheet tantrum. I was so confident of a 2-0 win in this game. Yeah, that's easily said with 2020 vision directly after the or hindsight directly after the game. But I thought Villa did absolutely enough throughout the game from minute 1 to minute 96 to win that game, and they were obviously by far the better team today. I just always felt that they were going to grow into the game and they were going to win it, and ultimately they did through two people who I would not have backed in a bazillion years to score. So much so that I actually put up on Twitter saying that I'm glad I lived long enough to see Bouba Kamara score another goal, because you just never expect him to score another goal. But look, this team is this team is a fantastic team. You know, we were watching a fantastic team, a fantastic Aston Villa team. Regardless of the pace of the game, regardless of the opposition that we're playing, and people will turn around here and they'll say, "Hey, listen, don't get ahead of your station. You were playing Spurs second team." I don't really care. We bossed that game. We had there was at one stage we had like 78% possession. You know, we bossed that game. We played around with the ball, and we stuck to our process, and we got our 2 goals from it. One from a set piece, and one from a move that we've kind of seen before, cutting in from that right hand side. You know, little layoffs from Morgan Rogers, and we got the 2 goals, and we sat back. There was no real threat at all. There was only one real shot that Spurs had. That was Odbert's back heel, when he tried to back heel it, and Debo had a brilliant save from him there. The commentators really wanted Spurs to do something in the game. They were making so much out of 1 or 2 attacks that Son had down Matty Cash's side. I thought Cash was fine today. I thought Matson was brilliant in the other side. I just didn't think there was any poor Aston Villa players out there today. Just like I didn't think there was any poor Aston Villa players against Bournemouth, and just like I didn't think there was any poor Aston Villa players against Fulham. I thought we looked like a very mature team. I thought we looked like a team that weren't going to panic. And in all 3 of those games, and you know, we've been proven right, given that we've had have we conceded in those 3 games? I don't think we did. Memory isn't great due to sleep deprivation. And that shows the maturity and the confidence that this team has at this time of the year. We are doing our job, and we're doing it really well and really efficiently. 9 clean sheets this year. And it's, for me, it's, we're still in with a chance as well, guys. Like, how would I put this? There's times this year where I feel like the team has been playing poorly. There's times this year when we've been absolutely out of our minds going, oh my God, what an amazing achievement this team has had. And when you sit back and you look at it all, Villa win the last day of the season, they accumulate more points than they did last year. That makes, and they've played in the Champions League, got to the Champions League quarter-final, and they've got to an FA Cup semi-final. Yes, we can talk about the shit way we went out of the FA Cup, but by all available measure, if Villa beat Manchester United, whether we get in Champions League or not, and if we do get in Champions League, I think we beat Manchester United. We will, given the way that the games are going now at the moment. It's an infinitely better season than it was the year before. Sorry, not infinitely better, but it's by every available measure, we will have had a better season than we did the year previous. And I've been so, and I know, like, I think I'm going to say it now, because I've been afraid of a huge drop off at times this year, and it's okay to say that, and like a lot of people have, you know. I think Paddy's going to be dropping in a moment. he's been afraid of a big drop off at times this season. He's and I know I'm speaking for him, and I try my best not to do this, but I know he'll echo this when he comes on. Like we've both said, should I say at times, that the Bournemouth draw, the Ipswich draw, and the Forest loss earlier on in the season were ones that would haunt us. And now we're one game away from exercising those based on what the score. I suppose, like put it this way: if it stays 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, we'll be 1 foot and 3 toes in the in the Champions League, albeit not taking Manchester United lightly. So I like there's a lot of the reason I bring that up about points totals, about what we've done this year and what we did last year is context and poignance, I suppose, with regards to you know the looking back on the year that we've had and where we've come to. We're still only 1 game away from getting into Europe. Nothing has really changed, other than the fact that we've done our business today. But the big thing that has changed, and why I mentioned the comparison last year and this year is, remember last year when we were struggling, scraping, clawing to get over the line? We were running out of steam. We did have player injuries, but you know there was times when we felt like we were kind of stuttering to get over the line. This year we're kind of puffing our chest out and running to the line with a bit more pace, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying there's a bit more maturity to our performances in the last 8 to 10 weeks. And that's brought from playing big games. Big players play big games. Big players learn from big games and grow from those games. And I think Aston Villa have been doing that. And I think, like, I'd nearly go so far as to say is I don't even think it's refutable. But I understand if people have different opinions and they say, oh yeah, we could have put 6 past Fulham, we could have put 4 past Bournemouth, we could have put 5 past Spurs tonight. That's fine. They're all relevant conversations if people want to have those, but for me it's a needless purity test on the team that's there. So like you're setting a standard for a team that hasn't scored 3, 4, 5, 6 goals this season because they haven't really needed to. When they've won games, they've won them comfortably by owning the games. And look, we can look at it with our goal difference and say that maybe we should that's maybe the next progression stat. And I think that's absolutely fine. And I agree. I agree with that. But today's performance against Spurs was that, to quote the great Steve Staunton when Ireland played San Marino, it was that potential banana skin to overlook Spurs, to go out hot off the pan straight away at the very start of the game and commit too many bodies forward and get caught by Son out on the left, pass the ball into Tells, and before you know it, you're 1-0 down with their first shot on target 10 minutes into the game. And that didn't happen. And we bossed the game at home like we always do. And we controlled the game. Some really good controlling performances from Ezri Konsa was really good. He'll probably end up getting man of the match, I would imagine. Onana is really coming into his own in the middle of midfield. I mentioned Maatsen on the left-hand side. I thought was really good inverting, really good going forward. Showed excellent pace getting back at times to cover. And Asensio had a superb first half, did everything but score. You know, I think there was a lot of players there that, you know, when some people have been calling for Maatsen recently. Absolutely, we're in a blessed position. The fact that we've got 2 really good fullbacks. Some people have been calling for Tyrone Mings. We're in a blessed position that we've got 2 really good left-footed centre halves there now. I thought Pau Torres was really good tonight. His passing was back on form. There was one pass in the second half where he had no backlift, and the camera was on him, and it was low to the ground. And he just pinged it right way across the field, straight onto Morgan Rogers' toe. He's, you know, that stuff is beautiful. And Asensio as well, you know, not had the greatest last 5 or 6 games, but was the effervescent creation machine in the first half. You know, he had a shot that was just whistled past the post, and everything he did was sharp. It was on time. There was chemistry in it. You know, he wasn't running into areas where other players were. You know, his spacing was really good, both in transition and also when he understood not to suffocate space as well in around the edge of the box as well. I thought that was one of Asensio's more complete halves. Second half, he kind of went out of it a small bit, but I thought that was one of his more complete halves. As somebody's saying here, there's a penalty to to Chelsea. Well, that's a bit of a kick in the nuts, but still, we'll see. They have to score it yet. So yeah, I think that there's there's a lot to be proud of this Villa team tonight. There's a lot to look at it from a tactical point of view and from a professionalism point of view, and say that's a team that's growing into itself and growing into the big moment, so that they, they've obviously had that heartbreak of that last, whatever it was, 4 minutes against PSG where they concede that goal in injury time, the needless goal that they conceded in the Parc des Princes, and they've had that game against Palace in the FA Cup semi-final, and the team seemed a small bit more hardened, if that's the right word to use. I don't know whether it is, towards that the big occasion today. Some people might have said that they may have looked disinterested. There was a lot of trust in the process in that game tonight, and I thought I enjoyed it. And I always kind of felt Villa were going to score first, and I thought if they scored first, that it would be a win for Aston Villa. No penalty, people are saying here now. I have to try and get this turned on here, because I actually kind of half wanted to do a press. I half wanted to do a oh wait, network. No, how come I can turn on that Rakuten TV? I've never turned it on in my life before, whatever the hell it is. I wanted to do a watch along. And spoiler alert, guys, because in AVFC Stato's absence, I will be doing a watch along for the plan is to do a watch along for the Man United game next weekend, the last game of the season. Team sheet tantrum, 10-15 minute break, straight into a watch along, straight into a reaction. So please come join us for that. Hot off the press here. Tell everyone, if you're into that watch along stuff, I think I'm going to do it, because it's going to be a banger of a weekend, regardless of what happens. Absolute banger of a weekend. Whatever happens next weekend. So I want to mark it with a podcast. I'm going to do a watch along. I know we said we never would. Paddy, I mentioned it to Paddy today. Paddy said, "You're on your own, kid." There's no way that he there's no way that he said he'd do it. But I might get around him. To do it. People are saying there's no penalty, that it's been ruled out. I would love to get this bloody thing turned on, but it just will not work for me. No, just not going to work. Need a new TV remote, I think. Right, let's see if I can jimmy it up here somewhere while I'm talking. Anyone there want to tell me? Oh my goodness, Jesus Christ! Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. Here at the moment. I'm seeing that there's a load of gifted subscriptions coming in here. Matt Hanlon, thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. There's also 10 came in here from Sam Bentley. Thank you so much, Sam. Really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. That's amazing. I genuinely am appreciative of anything that anybody gives this podcast. It keeps the podcast on the road, so to say, pays for all the software and stuff like that. And you know what? Myself and Paddy don't take a penny out of it. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do for the podcast. Everybody at all, even if you don't contribute, you just come in here and chat and spend your time with us. That's the most valuable thing you can do, is spend time here. And I just, I always say it at the end, but why not say it in the middle? But thank you so much, Sam, and thanks a million, Matt, for those. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody. But they're saying no penalty. Brilliant. This is very disjointed. I got given out to from by somebody during the week from my Francesco Calvo podcast for it being disjointed, and I do apologize. And I knew it was at the time, because I had a lot of notes. I had actually a proper 40-minute podcast script more or less written out for that one, because I'd done a lot of work in it. Then I left it in the car. My missus went off with it in her car, should I say. So I couldn't put it on. But yeah, I can't get this match on. I was hoping to watch this match, but it just will not work on anything I have here. So I'm going to need to be guided by you guys. Who did you guys think was man of the match tonight? Just will not work. Anyone, who did you guys think was man of the match? I think I'd say it'll go to Konza. I presume you guys know who it's gone to already, because of the because you guys were probably watching the aftermatch piece. But I'd say Konza is going to get it. Do you know what I liked about? Anne, thank you so much, Anne. Really appreciate that. Thanks a million. Jeez, thanks a million. Yeah, I just need Limerick to win tomorrow. No, Trinity United won tonight as well, and I just need Limerick to win tomorrow. That will really, really tie up or not tomorrow, on Sunday, and that will really tie up my weekend. But what I liked about Konza as well, there was a period during the game, and I think this actually worked in Villa's favour, when Konza wrestled Matt Tells to the ground. Tells got up, he wouldn't leave him alone, and Konza studies ground. Then you had the Onana and the Region piece. And by the way, Region, you delicate little flower, I hope he didn't hurt you too bad. You poor thing. Going around showing your tits to everybody because you thought that you were after getting a scratch somewhere along the line. Pretty pathetic and sad behaviour from Sergio Region. And then he had the face like thunder afterwards, like he was a hard man, yet he was going around showing everybody. That was, yeah, get over yourself, Sergio. Would be my advice, my cordial advice there to you, my friend. But I think that might have spurred Aston Villa on directly afterwards. Konza barrels into a tackle, wins it, no free given, and basically Villa walk up the field with it, and they get a corner. Now that wasn't the corner that they scored from, but I think it added a bit of sharpness, a bit of impetus into it, a bit of bite into it. And sometimes a game needs a flashpoint like that. It's an age old trope that people throw, but I think it did need a flashpoint, and that flashpoint went in our favour. And then it was fitting that Ezri Konza gets the goal and was able to shove it down the throats of the two Spurs players who were needlessly starting an argument with him. I think that is fair to say. And then, as I said, the Boubacar Kamara goal was, you just don't expect certain things. You don't expect Boubacar Kamara to stick in the bottom corner, but he did, and he has been having more shots recently. But sticks to this one in the bottom corner, and at 2-0 Villa were never relinquishing this. One thing I was surprised with was that Unai Emery took longer than usual to make substitutions. So it's like that. Not that I'm complaining, but we just before we scored, Barkley and Bailey were about to come on, and then I think it took him another 15 minutes, I'd say, to bring him on. Maybe 20 minutes actually, because Daniel Mallon came on first, and then the two boys came on afterwards. So it took him a lot longer to come on then and to bring on those players, and that was, that was something that I just didn't think would be we would see. They would take him that long to make substitutions. But look, we were 2-0 up, we win 2-0. The players didn't exactly look like they overexerted themselves. I think Onana will be a bit sore. He was limping around. He took a few kicks or whatever. Ollie Watkins took a kick as well. But it's one of these ones that I think come in the last day of the season, when you know that you've got a couple of months break, that they'll be fine. I think they'll be grand for next Sunday. Regardless, specifically Onana. I know Ollie Watkins will be fine, but I think Onana will be grand. A lot of people saying here in the chat, did you think that it was that was Ollie Watkins' last game? Genuinely, guys, I've no reason to believe that was Ollie Watkins' last game in Villa Park. I don't have any reason to believe, based on the way he came off, that was, unless somebody was in the stadium and saw something different. Just went to there was no overt clapping of the fans or anything like that. There was nothing over the top. And you know me, guys, I don't read into body language, good, bad, or indifferent. I try not to anyway, because I think that emotion can be misconstrued for poor body language, or I think emotion can I think there can be a 5-minute period when, specifically at the end of a long season, something like that, when it's been a long year or whatever, and next thing all of a sudden you're 2-0 up, and you know that you're bringing it to the last day of the season, when potentially we looked dead and buried about 6 weeks ago. You're bringing it to the last day of the season, and you might just feel good about yourself or about the situation, or you might just feel a small bit like, emotion might break out in you after the adrenaline of playing 85 minutes of football. So there's a lot that goes into that, you know. I know a lot of people like to think that a lot of things that players do on the field is choreographed to get attention, but you know, 9 times out of 10, it results in nothing. It's just a heat of the moment thing, whether it's a tear or whether it's I think Ollie Watkins is more measured than that. You know, everything that I've seen with him in interviews and stuff like that, he's a very level-headed guy. He's a very measured guy, and we will find out whether he's going to leave. But I'm not reading into anything into his body language, because just not good at it, I suppose. Just not good at it. He did today. I thought there was one glaring situation whereby he gets the ball and the defender peels off him. Ben Davies peels off him. He played it around the corner to Asensio, where he should have taken that one in and tried to smash it into the top corner. But apart from that, I thought that, you know, he ran the channels well today. He gets the assist for Konza, which was a pre-worked goal off the training ground, and he breaks another record of having the most goal contributions for Villa he's obviously broke the goals record last week. He's got the most goal contributions for Villa this week. Potentially, maybe if he did, and once again, I didn't see it, and I'll come to your guys' comments in a moment. So if there was any prolonged clapping of the fans or anything, maybe that was to do with the whole, listen, this game is over. Now I'm going to appreciate the fans after breaking the record. Now, there's a lot of ways you could look at it. You could also look at it as if he's saying goodbye to the fans as well. I completely understand that, but you know, I have no reason to believe that and even from talking to Matt Law during the week, I've no reason to believe that anything is imminent with him, that Villa won't sell him unless the money is right, and that he doesn't exactly want to kick up and go and leave, contrary to other beliefs that he doesn't want to leave if Villa don't want to sell him. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be lots of conjecture. Sky Sports mentioned it as well. Oh, is this his last time? I just think that's Sky Sports being Sky Sports, to be honest with you. When I was on TalkSport today, I was grilled about about Ollie Watkins and whether he would leave, and it was thrown out. It was said to me again that the Jamie Carragher trope, and that's where it came from. Remember this. Hear me now, and I'll tell you later. The trope about, or I will call it a trope because I'm about 95% certain that it is not true. Jamie Carragher said that Aston Villa offered Ollie Watkins to Arsenal in January. I've spoken to 4 other people who said that is not true. That's what I'm going to say. So when you hear about this whole Ollie Watkins was offered to Arsenal, it came from that Sky Sports segment. Just remember that. It could be true. I've heard from one person, Jamie Carragher has said it. From 4 other people that it's nonsense. I've heard, and 2 other people corroborated what Matt Law said to me as well, that Arsenal bid for Ollie Watkins in January and Villa dismissed the bid out of hand. Which are 2 very different things. Offering him to Arsenal didn't happen. If we did offer him to Arsenal, it's a completely different thing. Arsenal bidding and Villa turning it down, I would expect that to happen. So that's just my saying it, right? As I say, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the truth is for sure. But when you hear Sky Sports say, could this be his last time playing for Villa? Just bear in mind, a lot of this is coming from what Carragher said that night. And nobody had ever said that before. And I don't expect Carragher to be an inside knowledge guy. But he could very well be. I don't know. Anyway. Steve Berry, I'm on TalkSport more than I've been on TalkSport twice. But I must say, the lads, I was the Harry, the Arsenal fan I was chatting to today, really good guy, and Jamie Fulham as well, 2 really good guys, two very interesting. It was an interesting conversation. They asked some good, it was good questions. You know, there were challenging questions. There were ones we could have a good conversation about as well, which was nice. So if you guys want to catch that about 20 minutes into the social, if you want to listen back to it on TalkSport 2 today, do. And tweet them and tell them that I was good if you think I was good, and tweet them and tell them I was shite if you think I was shite as well. Anyway, I didn't really want to get into the Carragher thing there because I don't know whether it's true or not. I hope people here don't take it as if I'm saying that it's true. I'm just saying what I've heard. That's all it is, because we don't know. How the hell am I supposed to know? I'm a fella sitting inside an office here, a very warm office in Ireland. But take it with a pinch of salt. Anything that came out of Jamie Carragher's mouth. Villa are going to feckin' Europe, guys, regardless of what happens. And we knew that last week as well, but we are now in the driving seat for Champions League football. There is guys, what's the score? Oh, it's 1-0. I missed all that. There's 1-0 to Chelsea. It was a Cucurella. That prick. He's fucking shit as well, Cucurella. Cut that up and send it to him. I missed a couple of things there. William Skinner, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Really appreciate that. And Ken M, thank you so much as well. I love Boubacar Kamara's goal. I loved it as well too. You know, straight in the bottom corner like an arrow. More of them, Booba. If that's in your locker and you score one at Old Trafford, well, then we'll be tearing down the line and we'll be putting a Boubacar Kamara statue up somewhere around Villa Park. If you get us into the Champions League with 2 goals, because no one would have expected it. And then Ken M says, what's his name? Onana. What's his name? Onana. It's I actually had second guess there. It's Amadou Onana, not Andre Onana, isn't it? Do you know what? If he had never done that whole thing, I would never in a million years confuse his name. But now I always have to stop and think. Where else are we? Yeah, so it is 1-0. Yeah, so that's fine. Listen, we still have the last day of the season, and it will go down to the last day of the season now. So it was always going to go down to the last day of the season anyway. So that's nothing has changed with that goal, but it would have made it a lot easier for us. And plus, there is still 20 minutes left in the game or so. Yeah, maybe about 10 minutes left in the game. So go on, United. Bruno Fernandes, this will be a good time for you to score. I think I'm going to go. I wanted to do a bit of a watch along in that second half, but I can't get it to work here on my screen for whatever reason. So I'm going to let you guys go. Aston Villa did their business tonight. Aston Villa did what they should have done, did what they needed to do. We got our 3 points. And roll on to Old Trafford the last day of the season. And it would be a nice place to exercise a lot of ghosts in Old Trafford. If we win in Old Trafford, that's all we can do, and hope that other results go our way, namely Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. But it isn't over yet, because you obviously have Newcastle have Arsenal left to play, and gosh, I'm really forgetful tonight. Who else do they have to play? Bear with me. I will be back in a moment to have a conversation with you again once I remember how to use the internet. Newcastle have Arsenal, and they have, is it Brighton last day of the season? Everton last day of the season. And it was a team of blue in the jersey. Everton last day of the season. So, we'll see what happens there, I suppose. But we've done what we need to do, and we continue hoping that the results go our way. But regardless of that, we will be back again during the week with a pre-match show. Probably this day next week, maybe on a Friday night at 9:30, and we may have a special guest coming on that preview show, and then we will do Team Sheet Tantrum. And all going well, I'll do a watch along for the Man United game, and then straight into a reaction afterwards, because I would like to be there live if we get into the Champions League, because look, it's not often that, and it's not regular that Villa do things back to back like that, and I think it would be a historic moment for the club, and I'd like to react to it in real time. So excellent stuff. Thanks a million to everybody for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Go watch all the other Villa podcasts as well. That's one thing I absolutely love about what Unai Emery has really brought. You kind of have to analyze Villa now. Before it was very easy under Steven Gerrard. You could just say, do we play good or do we play bad? And that was it. Whereas Unai Emery, there's a lot of analysis that goes into it. And there's a lot of thoughts. The way he plays, gives you talking points in games, I think, an awful lot. And so go watch the Claret and Blue, go watch Up the Villa, go watch the 1874 podcast, go watch, I'm forgetting on the Villa podcast, Villa No Filler. Jesus, I apologies to anybody that I mentioned. Go watch them all. Wallow in it. Absolutely drink it in tonight. And we go again next week. And all we can do is win next week and see where the cards fall at the end. But even if we go and win next week, we've given it our best shot. And we gave it our best shot tonight as well. And we got what we needed from it. And we roll on into next week. And I'm sure Unai Emery's message is going to be exactly the same. We can only win the games that are in front of us now. And when we win those games, we need to see what way the cards fall after that. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching and for listening. We'll see you again during the week. I still have a Christian Mosquera podcast that I want to get out because I think he's a really interesting player. And we'll see what other bits and pieces pop up during the course of the week. And I'll come on with those as well. But see you next week for a pre-match. And then we'll talk more about what we're going to do watching on. Thanks a million. See you later. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, as always, Up the Villa.